Hi, my name is Abigail Wynn, and this is my first official day of my 30-day project. And it's my introduction, I guess. For my 30-day project, I'm going to follow 4 steps from a specific self-help book, and the self-help book that I've chosen is Thriving with Social Anxiety. Wouldn't you know? Whenever I tell people that I have really bad anxiety, there's either 2 responses. Either I would have never known, or yeah, I have eyes. I understand that a lot of people have day-to-day anxieties, but for me it's like a constant string of anxiety, and part of it has to do with that I have to be social every single day, and I guess this book is going to help me with that. My work kind of forces me to be social because I have to talk to the parents at the daycare that I work at. I have to talk to my coworkers and my managers, and I'm even anxious about talking to the little kids. They're 2. What I want to come out of this 30-day project is to be able to talk to people better and to not feel as anxious about how I am in public, how I act, how I speak. And hopefully it'll be a good 30-day project. We will see how it goes. So I'm doing this little get up, I guess, to explain something that happened on Sunday. It's currently Wednesday, and I'm home after school, and it's taken me a couple days to analyze what happened and what caused it, I guess. Basically, I went to high school service at my church, as I usually do every Sunday. The high school group is so large nowadays that we would have service in the main worship building where the adults usually have worship because it's so much bigger, and the old high school building doesn't really fit us anymore because it's so much smaller. So I guess I was just looking around and seeing people grouped together. We're usually in this big building, and I kind of started to panic a little bit. Eventually, during the video message, I stopped crying. And as we were leaving, I was just like, I am exhausted. I want to go home. I need to go home. Every other high school service, there's a senior meeting where different pastors or different people will talk about stuff like how to keep your faith strong in college and the community that you will grow in, stuff like that. And the speaker for this week just happened to be one of the most respected pastors at my church. His name's Mark Moore. And obviously, I love Mark Moore. My family loves Mark Moore. We're friends with Mark Moore. I've gone to a baseball game with Mark Moore. So I know he's a cool dude. I just was so exhausted and I didn't want to be near people. And this whole time, my dad's a lighting guy at CCV, so he was in the back of the room controlling the lights. And I went up to the booth after service ended, and he was like, go to your senior meeting, and I was like, He's like, go to your senior meeting, and I was like, So he comes around and he talks to me, and he's like, why don't you want to go to your senior meeting? And I started to tear up again, and I was like, I kind of had a panic attack. I've been having panic attacks for years. I know what I need in those situations, and what I do not need is to be around more people, because being around people is what caused it in the first place. So I walk over there, my group is there, and they obviously see that I'm overwhelmed. And they're like, just come sit with us, it'll be okay. My dad sits in the back. Senior meeting ends. I was just so exhausted and frustrated, and I just wanted to go home. Because at home currently, there was people who I was friends with, people who I wanted to hang out with, people who I knew would make me feel better after this kind of exhausting night. And on the car ride back, he was basically just telling me stuff like, you don't know what you need, you're just telling me what you want. Going home is not what you need, it's what you want. I had a mini panic attack, and then a slightly bigger panic attack, and then if he could have just driven me home after that, I'd be fine. Instead, he caused me to have one big panic attack and then one of the biggest panic attacks I've had all year. The book actually explains what a panic attack is, and I'm gonna read it. The ADAA describes a panic attack as the abrupt onset of intense fear or discomfort that reaches a peak within minutes and includes at least 4 of the following symptoms: palpitations, pounding heart or accelerated heart rate. I had that. Sweating. I had that. Trembling or shaking. Definitely had that. Sensations of shortness of breath or smothering. Feelings of choking, chest pain or discomfort, nausea or abdominal distress, feeling dizzy, unsteady, lightheaded, or faint. Chills or heat sensations, numbness or tingling sensations, derealizations, feelings of unreality or depersonalization, being detached from oneself. That's every day of my life. So, here's what I need to do. If you feel yourself becoming anxious, pause for a moment and turn your attention to the thoughts in your mind. Try to identify one specific thought that feels particularly unhelpful to you in this situation. For example, you're about to read. So I kind of just failed at being socially interactive with people. I'm currently at an event at my church for volunteers because I volunteer here. And I just got dropped off about 10 minutes ago and I'm already asking to leave because I know a bunch of people here, but I just feel really awkward talking to them, and I'm just feeling really anxious, and I don't know why I'm here. Like, they said it was a meeting and it's just like an event, so I didn't know what to do, so I grabbed a sandwich and a bag of Cheetos and sat in the corner by myself, and I threw the sandwich away, and now I'm just sitting here eating Cheetos waiting for my mom to come pick me up. This week has kind of sucked, if I'm honest. I keep looking behind me just because I'm anxious that someone is watching me film myself awkwardly. Another reason why I'm doing a book about social anxiety, because I just keep looking around and I'm leaving an event that I'm supposed to be at just because I'm feeling so anxious. I don't know if you can see it, but there are so many people over there. And you see that little ledge on the side? That's where I was sitting all by myself, just with my really sad Cheetos and my sandwich. My anxiety is a little heightened this week because my grandfather passed away this weekend, and people keep asking me like how I'm doing about it, and I don't really know what to say to them, because like I'm never okay, and then suddenly something happens and then they care all of a sudden. So yeah, this is not a great start to my 30-day project. Since this had happened at such a bad time, I turned to the book. I looked for anything that had anything to do with losing a loved one, but it didn't, and I started to feel kind of lost. Over the weekend, I volunteered at Shine, which is a special needs event held at CCV. While I was there, I kept in mind one of the passages that I read in the book. The book told me to pay attention to where my mind was at the moment. During the whole night, I was thinking about living in the moment instead of thinking about what I was wearing, what I was doing, how I was acting, and I was just living in the moment. It seemed as if something bad had happened every week. So, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and go to a concert. Out of all the concerts that I've ever been to, this one was by far the most fun that I've ever had. The music was great, the lights were great, the performance was great, the people around me were great, and while I was there, I kept in mind to have gratitude, as the book says. It seems like an odd thing to think about when you're at a concert, but while I was there, I was grateful I wasn't getting pushed or shoved, or no one was blowing smoke in my face, and I was just overall grateful that I was having a great time. I even made a couple of friends while I was there, which is a new thing for me. I don't usually make friends at concerts or anywhere in public, really. And I made 3 new friends. Their names are Elena, Jordan, and Asia. And this was one of the best nights that I have ever had. Am I still anxious? Absolutely. It's going to take a lot more than a book and 30 days for me to get rid of my social anxiety, and all the other anxieties for that matter. Maybe over the summer, instead of picking little bits and pieces from this book, I will read the whole thing and hopefully not become a socially anxious mess. I'm obviously tired of freezing up when people talk to me or having people think that I'm just mean and don't like them, when in reality I'm just terrified to talk to everyone around me. It was a little helpful. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but I have a really long ways to go.